Good morning and welcome to Workforce Skills with John Morse. Another Monday morning here in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a tough week. Guys not showing up again, trying to figure out how we're going to navigate through the week. Trying to navigate through all the jobs we have, all the employees we have, the onboarding that we deal with. Brand new estimator hired that starts today. We finally got a good estimator, I think. He's going to work out well for us. We'll see what happens. Today's just getting him acclimated with the office, what we're doing, how we're going to approach things. I think the one thing we have to do as owners of a company is we have to navigate. We have to be, as a leader, we have to navigate through our week, our day, what we're dealing with. Not everybody can navigate properly. And even with the employees in the field and superintendents, or if you're a crew leader or just a painter for that matter, or just a laborer, how are you going to navigate through the day? What are you doing to set yourself up for success? You know, one thing we always try to do, and I know some people call their conference room or their board room, they call it the war room. It's where they strategize, they plan for what they're dealing with or what they're going to do through the week or how they're going to approach a certain project or job. It's the same with what we're doing. You know, from the second we bid the job to all the way to closeout of a project that we land, there's a strategy. How are we navigating through this? What are we going to do to better ourselves to prepare for the project? It's amazing how many jobs we bid and there's a product listed that we've never heard of before, we haven't used before. Or there's a certain vendor that they're recommending that's from a different part of the country that we normally don't use here, and we have to find a cross product that we have available here that we can use in place of that. So it's navigating through the day-to-day details of a project or how we're going to attack a job or how we're going to set up for the project. How are you going to navigate through your week, through the job that you're on? Let's say you're one of the employees out there. You're on a project. You're using new products. What are you going to do to prepare yourself to navigate through this job? Are you going to go home and research? Are you going to YouTube it? Are you going to look something up? What are you doing to better yourself to be better prepared for that job? How are we going to navigate through this? How can you have one superintendent oversee a project and another superintendent oversee another project? They're identical. We've done many Chick-fil-A's. They're identical to each other, certain ones, as we've painted them, or McDonald's, or any project for that matter, a Jiffy Lube, O'Reilly's. And how can two jobs run so differently from one another when they're bid identical? They've got pretty much the same quality of skilled labor on it. How is it being run differently? Is it preparation? Is it how we're navigating through the project? Is one superintendent better prepared for it than another? How do we proceed with each project? So to get equal results on them, you have to have equal navigation. You have to have equal pricing, equal labor, equal skill, everything. So how are we going to jump into our projects and make sure we are navigating it the right way? And you might say, geez, John, you're saying navigation too much. We have to start thinking about this. How are we going to proceed with a project? How are you going to prepare yourself for a project? How are you as a painter or plumber, framer, electrician, whatever you're doing out there, how are you going to educate yourself better and be prepared for the project you're going on? That's what we need to start thinking about. How can I learn more? You know, we talk about how I'm doing more training, how we've changed our onboarding system. But how are you, once you're within that company, how are you changing how you're going to progress through the company? What are you doing for yourself? I know what I'm doing for my employees. I know how I'm going to train them. I know what I'm going to teach them. I know the direction we're going as a company and how we're trying to better ourselves. But what will you as an individual out there do to better yourself? What navigation are you putting in front of you? What direction are you putting in front of yourself so you can go down that path? What do you need for your benefit to become better, to understand products? Let's put it this way. Bucket of paint. How many different components are in that bucket of paint? What makes that bucket of paint? What makes a bucket of flat paint different than semi-gloss? Or what makes a water-based paint different than epoxy? Or an oil-based? Do you understand the makeup of the products that you're using? That's how we need to change. We need to change the way we come to work, the way we look at our job. How are we going to educate ourselves? Right now, one of the things we're doing is we're making ourselves read a book. As management, as superintendents, we have the book that we're reading. We're going through that. We're trying to educate ourselves better as leaders, better as trainers, better as employees. What do I do to learn more about my job, about my industry? It takes training every single day. And nobody truly will know 100% of everything in any field that they're in. It's impossible because there's always something new coming out. There's always new technology. There's new education out there. There's new training modules out there for us. How can we change us as an individual? I want to be better with everything that I'm doing. I want to change the direction I'm going. I want to be the better employer. I want to be the better trainer, the better teacher, the better podcaster. What can I do differently? Right now, I'm looking at, our analytics of this podcast and how can I reach more people? Well, what am I going to do to understand that? What am I going to do to understand the analytics of what I'm doing with this podcast? How am I going to promote it more? What can I do to get the word out there? How can I change what I'm doing to better myself? How do I learn more about being a podcaster? All I know is I come here, I sit here, I talk to you. That's what I do. But I need to educate myself. I need to understand the numbers better. I need to understand the verbiage better, what I can do to promote this. It's no different than my job, being an employer as a painting contractor. What am I going to do differently that's going to better educate myself, better train myself? That's the key with anything we do. As an electrician, what are you doing to better yourself as an electrician? To be at the top of your game, the top of your field, learning everything you can to understand it out there. I don't know other industries. I only know painting, so you're going to hear me talk about that quite a bit. But when it comes to your industry, what you're doing, say you're a realtor, you're in real estate, what are you doing differently as a realtor to better yourself out there, to understand the market, to understand the verbiage out there in financing, in loans, in new home builders versus buying an existing home, or guys that flip houses? What are they looking for? Don't you want to understand every aspect of the business that you're in? I know I do. That's what's going to make me stronger. That's what's going to make me better in my industry. I want to continue to build my company bigger. One thing I struggle with is the finance side of it, understanding the numbers, going into QuickBooks, understanding my P&Ls, my profit and losses. I need to understand that better. So next week for 2 days, I'm going to a Finance Essentials. I'm going to learn everything I can. I'm taking my last 2 years of financials with me. They're going to tear me apart. They're going to look at everything. I want to know. I want them to tell me what I need to do differently. I want them to tell me what I need to educate myself and train myself. And I struggle with this. I really do. It's been a process for me. You're looking at a guy here that never graduated high school. I went through the motions. I don't have the best education. Everything I've done on my own. I can't do that anymore. I now have to be open-minded to some training and some mentorship in running a business. That's what I'm looking for. I want someone to come on board and help me understand this. I've hit my lid. I've hit a plateau that I just can't seem to break through right now. So it's now time to make a change. That doesn't mean I'm done learning, I'm done training. I just accept the fact that here's where I'm at in business and we're stuck at this and we're going to be here forever. What are we going to change to get to that next level? What are we going to change as a team, as a business, to better ourselves? And it starts across the board with everything that we do. Everything from training to onboarding to education to reading books to watching videos to having management meetings to discuss the direction of our company. And it happens with me sharing the direction of the company, sharing the direction, my goals, my values, where we are financially as a company. I need to teach everybody everything within my business so they can grow with me. They need to come on board with me. They need to grow with me to get to where I want to be. But how can I expect them to if I'm not navigating the right direction, if I'm not leading the right direction? I have to set the course. Anybody can drive a boat. but you have to be able to navigate the direction you're going into if you're going to get somewhere across the water. You have to have a direction. You have to be able to know how you're going to get from point A to point B, and then to C, D, E, F. How are you navigating to get to each step where you want to be? We have a plan in place. We're trying to get to a certain level. My level in 5 years to be doing $25 million in revenue just in the state of Arizona. That's my goal. As I grow, as I continue this, it starts with the training and having everybody on board with me. So as we navigate through the direction of the company of what we're doing, I have to look at my leaders, my management team. What value do we bring as leaders? What value are we offering to our people that work for us? What are we doing to show our value? The value that an employee brings is to get a job done, to do the work that we put in place. But for them to bring value, we have to give them value. What value do I bring as a leader? What am I teaching them? What am I giving them? What am I giving them in return besides just a paycheck? They're getting rewarded for what they do every day, and that's in their every Friday paycheck that they receive. But what other value can I bring as a leader? What value can you bring as a superintendent or a project manager or a crew leader on your crew? Or you just as a employee out there to the new guy that's on your crew? What value can you bring? How can you help them through their day-to-day as they're coming on board? What can you give them that's going to show value in that company? You know, it's interesting, reading a book here recently, found out that Costco has the best retention of employees in the United States out of any business. What value do they offer that retains those employees? Their pay is better. Is it the benefits? What is the difference with what they offer? You know, we have to look at our employees and what can I do to show value in us to keep them here for the retention? How do we retain our employees? You have to have some form of a value. You have to have some benefit for them to be there besides just a paycheck. Are you leading them properly? Are you training them properly? What is the benefit to any employee to stick with any company besides just a paycheck? You know, a third of your employees are going to be loyal to you. They're going to do anything and everything, go above and beyond. A third of your employees are probably there just for a paycheck. They're going to do their job without question, but they're not going to go above and beyond. But they're going to do what you need them to. A third of your employees are sabotaging your company. And you might say, well, John, that's a lot. That's not true. I don't think a third of them are. Well, I think a third of them are. They do it and they don't realize they're doing it. It comes with calling out sick too often. It comes with getting a flat tire too often. It comes with, you know, I got a theory, you're only on time if you're 10 minutes early. They're not doing that. They show up right on time or they're showing up late. You know, so what are the employees there that are sabotaging you that you don't even realize it? Or they're making a mess on a job. My guys spill paint. We're on job for 8 months, and I had 2 or 3 days with 2 guys just cleaning paint off the floors, you know, from the whole progress of this job, from the beginning. That is a form of sabotage. You know, why weren't we covering the floor? Why didn't we have the drop cloths down when they were supposed to be there? You know, what could we have done differently on this job? You know, and then it comes down to the superintendents where they oversee the job properly. You know, what could we have done different? There's that form of sabotage that we don't even realize that's happening. So I have to reconsider what value I bring to the company. What value do I bring to my employees? As the superintendents, what are they giving to the guys below them, the crew leaders? You know, I know the value that we're starting to create is in the direction of the company as far as the direction of each level of management. We have now printed off that we give to each employee their position and what their duties are during the day. That just added value to each position. But what else are we doing? It's the training that we do. It's bringing them into the office, crew leaders, once a month and doing a training session with them. You know, talking about their struggles of what they deal with on the jobs. So how can we change how we're bringing the value to our company? How can you change as an employee, bringing value to the next guy below you? What are you doing to better the company? What are you doing to bring more value of yourself to that company so you can be compensated for it in higher wages, better benefits? We have to look at it that we're all in this together. And it's amazing how many people out there, oh, I don't care. I'm just making the man richer. The owner's just making more money. That's not always the case. The case in this that we need to look at is how can we bring more value to the company and the company bringing value to us? It's got to be a team effort. But I think the first message goes out to all the people out there that own a business. What are you doing to bring better value to your employees? It starts with you. It starts with me. I can't expect anything in return unless I'm giving them something first. So what do I bring to the table? And it can't be just a paycheck. There's too many guys out there owning their own business or gals that say, well, I give them a paycheck. That's the only value they need. I'm going to tell you right now that that's not the case. We need to rethink the way we're doing things. How do we set our company at a higher level than everybody else? What standards are we putting in place with our company to make it better for the employees? You complain that you got a revolving door of employees. You want a better retention. Well, it won't start unless you start making changes. So what change do I do today? My change today is making it better for my employees by training. Now, I do struggle when it comes to wages, and everybody thinks they're worth more, but it's difficult when I get guys coming in saying they have 10 years experience, but yet I put them in a field with someone else that's only got 2 years experience, and the guy with 2 years experience is outworking the guy with 10 years, where he has more knowledge or he does a better job. He has more input on how the job needs to be run. So what does that tell me about the guy that we just hired that claims he has all this experience? But me as the employer, I've got to take a step back and start thinking differently how I hire people. I got to start thinking differently how we train people or how we onboard them. Do they have the experience they say they do? Everybody thinks they're worth more than what they're actually getting paid. We all do. That's just human nature. We all want more. But what are we doing to bring that value to earn more? What value am I bringing to my company for my employees to bring in better employees, to bring in better skilled employees? What do I need to change? That's my question this week for myself and our management team. What can we do differently to bring in better skilled painters, better skilled employees? How do we change what we're doing? How can a company like Costco do it? And how do I reflect that to my business and make that change? I know a lot of our work is outside. It's in the heat. Costco's is inside in air conditioning. What do we change within our business to make us stand out? How can I change the way we retain employees? And maybe it's you guys out there watching this podcast, you guys across the country that work for other companies, and you're at a great place and there's something happening different, or maybe you know what you need to be able to retain at the place you're at. Reach out to us. Tell me. I'm open to criticism. I'm open to advice. I don't know everything. Let's make this an open discussion for anybody out there that has an idea what it takes. And maybe you're the one that you're in a great place. You got a great boss. He takes care of you. There's a reason. Why do you stay where you're at? What keeps you there? The statistics are true about the third. As far as a third are loyal and they'll be there forever and go above and beyond. A third just collecting a paycheck, and a third are sabotaging the company. If you see your company or you're an employer out there that has something different, share that information. What can we change as a collective? I'd love to talk about that on one of the future podcasts of how we can change how we're running our businesses. And if you're an employee out there and you have that magical answer that's going to fix all this, by all means, reach out to us. Let's share it to the world. Let's change every business out there. Let's change it so we now bring value to everybody. That's the key. How can I serve my employees? How can I be of service to them and show them the value to make them stronger, to make them better? That's what I want to do. That's how I want to change how I run my business. And I want to learn how to be better at that. I want to learn how to better serve my employees to make them better. It's not just about compensation. I mean, as we grow, compensation comes into play. More money comes in, I can reward them. But how do we change the value of what we're doing? The value of the employee to the employer and the employer to the employee. That's what we're looking for. That's the key for this week. That's kind of, that's like the one question I need an answer for this week. How do we change that? And I know there's a lot of smart-ass answers out there that I'm going to hear from guys that think they work for just idiots. And I know there's a lot of idiots out there running their companies and they don't care about the employees. But let's pretend for a moment that you want to work for somebody that does care. And maybe you reach out and come out to Phoenix, come work for me if you're that guy. Maybe that's how I get better employees, by this podcast reaching people out there. Come to Phoenix. You want to be better? Let's be better together. Let's make a change in this industry, in this business. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. But let's do it together. This is a team effort. There's no I in my company. It's we and it's us. It's a team. We want to make the change together. We want to make a difference together. How do we do that? It comes with navigating the right direction of how we're running a business, how we're going to attack each project. It comes with bringing value to it. What value am I bringing today? What value do you bring today? That's what we're looking for. I look back at different leaders in the world and different people that were leaders that brought value. You look at people like Nelson Mandela or Mother Teresa. Look at Muhammad Ali, different people that brought something bigger out there. And it wasn't what they were trying to bring to themselves. It was the value that they were given to other people. That's the difference that they made. That's what made them a true leader. It was the value that they brought to the people on a bigger scale, bigger level. When we can learn to lead as a volunteer, anybody says they can be a leader, but go out there and volunteer for 6 months somewhere where there's no compensation, there's no nothing, and see if you can get people to follow you into that program or whatever you're volunteering for. If you can get people to follow you when there's no compensation, that's when the difference starts and you become a real leader. But you got to show value to it. What value do you bring as a leader in something that's just a free service as a volunteer? That's how you can start to see the change in yourself. That's how I know that we will become a better leader. But it comes by serving others. So as I'm serving my employees, I got to bring value. I have to show them why they're here and what the difference is and how I can make them better as an employee or in their skill and their trade. One of the ways that I try to add value to what I do in regards to this podcast or the vocational programs that we run and helping guys get back on the right path is mentorship. I want to help mentor people. Last week, I had a good friend and guy that I've been mentoring for a while, Eddie. He was on here with me, and it was amazing hearing his story and what he brought to the table to this podcast. And I did not expect the emotional side of it, but knowing that the value I bring to him in his life is, he was in a tough spot. He texted me. I called him within 2 minutes. 2 days later, he's on my podcast with me and we're talking and I'm helping him through some stuff. I want him to call me once a week. We're going to talk more. I'm going to try to be more of a mentor to him. Someone previously on one of my previous podcasts was Jason Bliss. He's working for a welding company. He went through our program. Me and him talk once a week. So the value that I'm trying to bring as a leader and a mentor is helping others. Part of leadership is being a servant. It's sharing with others, being there when they need you. I can't look at these phone calls and say, I've helped them, I'm moving on to the next thing. I will never stop helping these guys that have been through my program as long as they're on the right path. As long as they're doing the right thing and they're headed the right direction, I will help them as long and as much as I can. And the one thing that I think helps me the most is being true and honest to everything that I do. It's not sugarcoating it. It's not BSing them. It's giving it to them real and the way it is. I'm going to hit them square between the eyes, whether they like it or not, with the truth of what's going on or what they need to hear. And I think that's why they do so well. I think that's why they appreciate having me being a part of their life, and they keep coming back for advice, because it's not sugar-coated. There's no BS in this. I'm going to hit them no matter the way it comes out. They need that, especially guys that come out of prison or off the streets or out of drugs. You know, they don't need you to pretend. They don't need you to teach them from a book. They need real life experience. And that's what I'm bringing to the table for them. It's a real world experience that they get from me. It's a real world experience. I've been there. I've been an addict. I've had my issues. I've been arrested before. There has been many things in my life that I've struggled with. And knowing that, that's why I want to help others. I want to give back. Not only am I running a business and giving people the opportunity to become something more in my business, I've got superintendents, estimators, project managers that have all come out of prison, off the streets, out of drug rehabs, and they are successful. And they're doing it on their own. They have made a life for themselves. They just needed someone to give the opportunity to them. You know, part of that 30% of the company that, you know, we talk about is loyal, that will do anything and go above and beyond. My percentage is a little bit higher than that. And the reason it's higher than that, because I gave people the opportunity where no one would give them the opportunity before. But I've continued the mentoring. I've continued the training, the education with these guys. That's what's made the difference. That's what's given them value to be here. The value that's offered to be a part of something bigger than anything they've ever had in their lives. That's what they need. That's what they look for. That's the direction that they're going. And so for me, part of being a leader is given the value of being a servant. You know, who in your life has given you that? Who do you look up to? Is there somebody you work with that's out there? Maybe it's a pastor or a preacher or someone in the service. Maybe it's just somebody that mentors you, that guides you. And it doesn't have to be someone that you're in close contact with. It could be just somebody you listen to each week. Maybe it's reading the Bible. Maybe it's listening to this podcast. Find somebody in your life that's going to help you bring more value to your life, to your job. You know, I know we talk about workforce skills and how to be a better employee and what we need to do, but it's a lot more than that. You know, when you hear Eddie's story from last year or previous people I've had on here, you know, whether it's Will Marcel, the very first one that I had on one of these podcasts, maybe his story is what's made the difference for you. Maybe this is what's bringing the value that you need. But you got to continue to grow. You can't just stop at that one step. You got to continue to read. You know, the new estimator we just hired last week, you know, one of his things, he says he reads a new book every single month. That's what helps him grow. That's what helps him progress in life to be a better person. You find what works for you and you put it into play. You put it into practice. You find those different discussions. Maybe there's peer groups that you can be a part of in your trade, in whatever you're doing. Part of being a good employee is more than just being a good employee. Part of being a good employer is more than just being an employer. It's educating ourselves, bringing the value that we need. And it's navigating the right direction to get there. You have to put a plan in place. You have to put something in place, and you have to focus on it. Put a plan in place. How are you going to get from here to where you want to be? What direction are you going? If you have no plan, if you have no direction of where you're navigating to, you're lost. You're lost at sea. Anybody can drive that boat. They can drive a ship, but to be able to navigate to where you want to be. That's what you have to do in life. That's what you have to do in your job. That's what you have to do with the direction you're going. Find a way to navigate through what you're going through. Find a way to get to point A to point B. If you're not happy where you're working at or what you're doing, find a difference. Put a plan in place. You have to navigate to where you're going to get to. If not, you're lost. There's so many people out there that are lost today that can't find their way. Find some direction. And the one thing I'm going to recommend to everybody out there is find a mentor. Find somebody that can help you, that can guide you, that can give you direction. And maybe they can't guide you or give you direction, but they can just sit and talk to you about what they've been through. Maybe hearing somebody's story like last week's podcast is just what you needed to hear what they're going through because you're feeling the exact same thing. And then it causes you to make a change and go the direction you need to. There's a lot of people out there that are lost, that need direction. You know, it's whether it's politics, whether it's religion, whether it's your job, whatever you're going through, your sports team, we feel lost sometimes, like we don't know what we're doing or where we're going to. You have to have a plan. You have to put something in place. Find somebody to talk to. Find somebody to help you through whatever you're going through. You know, it's part of what I've done over the past years with our vocational program, and what we do is helping people get back to work. I have a direction, I have a plan, and I know how I'm going to do it. And it's a great feeling helping others. And some people out there just go to work, they do their thing, start helping others in the workplace. Look at someone that's struggling next to you at work and help them get through what they need to. Maybe they don't understand how to do the job they're doing and they need someone to guide them. You can be that person. I never once thought I'd be able to teach a class, and now I do. I'm teaching a trade school. I'm teaching a vocational program in painting and the life skills part of it. I never in my life thought I could do something like this. But yet here I am doing it. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Get out there and practice it, work on it, and make it happen. And if you need help, reach out to us. Reach out to us and we will help guide you in the right direction. And if you are looking to join a paint company like us and you like what you hear from me and you know what needs to be done and maybe you can help me, guide me in retaining employees, maybe you're that employee that wants to come here and work for me. Reach out to me. We'll talk. I'm here for everybody, no matter what the direction you're going through. Whether you're the employer or the employee, whether you're the guy on the streets looking for a job and trying to look for a new start, we can definitely help you with that. We've done it for a lot of guys. Reach out to us. Let us know what you need. Let us know what you want to hear on future podcasts. But for the most part, stay hungry out there. Keep working. Thank you.